Alright, for those that don't know me, and some of you that watch me don't know my name is Janine, and I don't say my name very often. But anyway, today I'm going to talk about my Hashimoto story, and I apologize to people who have been waiting and asking for this for 2 years now. I've been promising to do it, and I've just been putting it off because it's a long story. If I literally was to tell you everything or even shorten it, it would probably take me 4 hours. I've had some people ask me recently how I was diagnosed or how I knew I was sick and how that all played out. So I thought, yeah, that'd be a good place to start. So I don't have the exact timeline. That's another reason why I kind of been putting this off, because maybe it's the Virgo in me. I just want to have everything like perfectly. I want to be able to tell you guys exactly how it happened and have like the perfect timeline, but I don't think that's really that important. A lot of the key points, really, the timeline isn't really that important, just kind of give you a rough idea. So I pretty much think that I was symptomatic at least 5 years, maybe even 10 years before I was actually diagnosed. I noticed in my mid to late 20s that my energy wasn't that great. I was depressed. My biggest thing that I noticed it was a little off, especially being in my 20s. I mean, this happens to everybody. This is pretty normal, so it wasn't high on the radar, but like it didn't raise any red flags, I guess, for my doctor. But it was like I would work out and exercise the same as somebody else, or even like a whole bunch of people, and they'd be losing like 2 pounds a week or something, and I'd lose half a pound. And I know, like, in hindsight, a lot of it had to do with what I was eating, just not eating the right foods, but I do feel like a little bit of it was the thyroid issue. But yeah, but the main thing was depression. But my doctor at the time, who was very thorough, asked me to do like this little questionnaire just to see where I was at emotionally, and like she wanted to figure out if the depression was situational or if it was something else going on with my health. And just because I really did not like my job at the time, I was very unhappy. I was in a toxic relationship. It was not a good, healthy relationship. She just chalked it up to situational depression. And she did a full blood work panel, and my thyroid numbers came back, my TSH came back around 7, and the lab value range, or the healthy range at the time, because it's changed now to be more accurate, was like between like 3.0 and 7, no, 3 and 5, sorry. And I was a 7, so she just said, well, you have subclinical hypothyroidism and it's nothing to worry about. But anyway, that doctor actually got in an accident, a cycling accident, and I didn't have a doctor for a while. So fast forward probably about 5 years. I was getting worse. My depression wasn't any better. So I did manage to lose weight a few years later, just diet and exercise, working really hard. It just took me a long time. So I got down to maybe 165, which was great. I hadn't been that weight probably since college years. And then I went on the Atkins diet and got down to about 150, and I felt great. Probably, I think it was within 3 months, I started getting kind of weird symptoms after that. And I didn't stay on the Atkins diet because it just wasn't sustainable. I remember the first thing I noticed that was a little weird was that I had like maybe 2 drinks, like alcoholic drinks. I don't drink that often, but I had a couple drinks and I had gained like 8 pounds. And it was like, we went out for dinner and had a couple drinks, and I could understand like with some water retention, you might be up maybe 5 pounds or something, but it was like 8 pounds and it just did not leave. And I think from then on, it just, things got worse and worse. Got more and more depressed, got more and more tired. And eventually I got to the point where I was over 200 pounds. I took a leave of absence from work. Actually, I ended up getting the pink slip. I had been going to a counselor, and it was a really difficult time for me because I knew that I just couldn't keep this up. I couldn't keep going to work the way I was because I was coming into work late, and it's not like me at all. I was just like a zombie. It took me over half a day to actually like finally wake up, like to actually feel somewhat awake. And yeah, the depression was just really hard. Again, I don't remember the timeline of all this because it is pretty fuzzy. I was in a fog all the time. But I was getting kind of suicidal. Like, I don't think I had planned it out or anything, but I did fantasize about it because I felt like death would be the only way out of the hell I was in. And actually I ended up not getting fired, but I got a severance package, and apparently they had already been working on that, so it made sense for the time because there was a lot of cutbacks and layoffs. It was like 2008. A lot of the publishing companies were having a hard time financially, so it made sense. But at the time I just felt like I was a failure and they just got rid of me because I sucked, and it didn't help with the depression. It just kind of made things go even more downhill, and I gained even more weight. I wasn't working, I was at home, and I was sleeping 15 hours a day. And I finally went and found a doctor that was close by to where I was living, because my other doctor was it was like an hour to get to her, and it was hell just going out and being in public and getting on the train, and I felt like a zombie, and I was really embarrassed, I guess, because of my size and just the fact that I was in a fog. Yeah, it wasn't fun going out in public. So anyway, I found a new doctor, and finally this doctor actually had some brains compared to my other doctor. Oh, and also I was on antidepressants by this time as well. And I was literally sleeping 15 hours a day, maybe more. And just even walking a block or two was a lot of work. And again, I was depressed. Yeah, I was in a bad relationship still. I got married to the person that was not right for me. So, and I didn't have a job, and I felt worthless. So everything just was not looking good for me. And to make matters worse, my husband at the time, my ex, did not believe I was actually sick. He said I was faking it so that I could get time off work. And I really felt alone too, because I had no family nearby, and even though people knew I was going through this, nobody really, I guess, understood it, and nobody really helped me out to like research it. And I know a lot of people out there with Hashimoto's or any kind of chronic illness, it's invisible. You feel very alone, and it feels like it would be nice if people would take you seriously and help you research it. Yeah, so depressed and fantasizing about death, and finally got to my doctor, a doctor with a brain, and she saw my blood work was horrendous, so she sent me to a specialist right away. But where I lived, it took a month to get in to the specialist, and between the time I had my physical with my new family doctor and the month later I got in with my endocrinologist, I had gained 20 pounds. And I was not like sitting there packing in the Big Macs and eating for 2 people and chugging back cases of soda. Like, I didn't eat healthy. I wasn't like a healthy eater, but I wasn't like the worst eater. It wasn't a binger. Yeah, so I was probably eating the same way I normally ate for most of my life, except here I am gaining 20 pounds in 1 month. So I got to the endocrinologist, and she immediately got me in for more blood work. So she tested for Hashimoto's. I didn't have to ask for it. It's like, I didn't even know what the hell was going on. I was totally zombied. Yeah, the endocrinologist tested everything, like my TSH. She looked for thyroid antibodies. I think it's called anti-TPO or something like that. There's a couple different antibody tests they can look at. T3, T4, vitamin D she checked, because it's quite common for people with low vitamin D levels to have Hashimoto's as well. But yeah, so I got the blood work back. She brought me into her office, said, okay, you have Hashimoto's and you have hypothyroidism, which usually they go together. So basically what that means is the immune system is attacking the thyroid. It has antibodies against it. So and she just said, yeah, your body's going to attack it pretty much until it's useless, and you're going to take this little pill for the rest of your life. She made it sound so simple, like that's it, end of story, here, solution, little pill, and everything will be fine. She also sent me for ultrasounds just to check for nodules, to make sure there wasn't any really large ones. Now, just as a side note, it's pretty common to have nodules on your thyroid. I think they're just looking for abnormal ones or particularly larger ones. So I had one that was a lot larger than the other ones, so they ordered a biopsy on that, and that's where they stick needles into the nodule right through your neck. My results came back from the biopsy as pretty much inconclusive, that it could be cancerous, and she reassured me that, you know, if it was cancer, it's probably the best cancer you could ever have because it grows slowly, and she didn't want to try for surgery or anything just yet. She just said, let's watch it and make sure, you know, it doesn't grow, and if it grows, then we'll take a look at it again. But yeah, that was pretty much the diagnosis, and yeah, it was all kind of overwhelming. It's kind of scary, but I'm really grateful that I found a doctor that knew what she was doing, or knew to send me to somebody who knew what she was doing. Even though it wasn't the ultimate solution, at least got me to a point where I could function somewhat normal. But yeah, if you feel like you have Hashimoto's, I would encourage you to go to your doctor and ask for a blood test. So if you guys have any questions about that, comment down below. I'll either answer you here in the comments, or I'll include it in my next video. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one.